Evening, everyone. How we doing? Great. Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, how stoked are we to be here talking about improv tonight? Show of hands. 10? Oh yeah? Stoked? Well, it should be really fun. This evening we have our April author-in-residence, Klotz-Guest, and she wrote a book called Stop Boring Me, How to Generate New Product, Service, and Marketing Ideas Using Improv. This stuff is super powerful, and I think this is a new horizon for business people. Stop being dry and start being exciting. You're trying to get people to believe what you're doing. She knows what I'm talking about. Death by PowerPoint, right? So anyways, we're really stoked to have her, and she came all the way down, so let's give her a big round of applause, and you got a big treat. So Kathy Klotz-Guest, and let's give her a round of applause.
Hey everybody! Oh, that's a good mic. That projects. Hey everybody! If you're sitting by yourself, it is called improv, which means you're gonna have to talk to other people. So if you're sitting by yourself, you won't be for long. Make sure you have a buddy, but we'll worry about that in a second. So here's what I want you to do. I want you, how many of you have a smartphone? We're in Silicon Valley. If anybody said no, I'd be worried. I'd be worried. All right, so here's what I want you to do. No, not yet. I want you to look at that smartphone, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to come up with as many ideas for how to use that smartphone other than for what it is, a smartphone. So let me give you an example. My smartphone, I'm an Apple user, right? Apple fan. So I look at my iPhone and I think, it's a cat defibrillator. It's a sled for mice. Oh my gosh, it's a little bed for little flowers. I want you to brainstorm for a minute. Just come up with as many ideas. Don't judge yourself. Go, have fun. Five more seconds. All right, everybody. Let's hear some ideas. Just shout them out. Coaster. A hammer. Yes. Football field for ants, like a huge stadium. That's a couple of stadiums, yeah. A mini skateboard. A meter? Oh, that's brilliant. Mirror, that's smart. Oh, I like that.
Light source.
Oh, a light source, that's brilliant. All right.
Friend.
A friend. A friend I'm spending a little bit too much time with lately. Yes. What else?
Doorstop.
Doorstop. Anything else? A hat.
Bookmarker.
A what? A selfie joke? I like that. What else?
Bookmarker.
A bookmarker.
A posture improver.
A posture pro. Oh my gosh, I need one of those. Yeah. Anything else?
A ring. A ring.
Yes. Well, we'll take one or two more. Yeah. Ooh, okay. A bell or something to scare people away. Okay. Anything else? These are great ideas. These are great ideas because here's the thing, folks. You're all creative. You're all very, very, very fun, and you're not boring. But sometimes when we put our marketing business hat on, all of a sudden we become a robot. What's up with that? You're all brilliantly, wildly creative. That is your birthright. because you're a human being. You're a great storyteller, you're totally creative, that is who you are. Don't let anybody tell you any different. So we're going to talk about what improv is and isn't. And I'm going to talk about applied improv. How many of you have taken an improv class? Fantastic. Wonderful. Okay, that's good. Now, how many of you think that improv is all about performing? Okay. How many of you think that it's possible that improv is so much more? Yay! Okay. I'm like, there's the rest of you that didn't raise your hand. Some of you are voting twice. I just want you to know that. Okay. Stuffing the ballot box. That's exactly it. Is that improv is so much more. Improv is more than theatricality. Sure, I'm an improviser, and I've studied at Comedy Sports and sketch at Second City, and I'm a founder of 2 improv groups, and I've been performing comedy for about 20 years. But it's so much more than just learning how to present and talk. Improv is about creativity, and it's how improvisers on a stage collaborate and create scenes completely made up based on audience suggestions. But what if we applied that same concept of creativity in groups to come up with new ideas and made brainstorming a lot more fun? Yeah? Yes, yes, we're going to take the FU out of fun. We're going to make brainstorming fun again. That's what we're going to do. And that's what improv is about. So I want you to have a great time today. Can you say yes? Yes. I don't believe you. Can you say yes? Yes. All right, I believe you. All right, fantastic. Fantastic. All right, you guys passed the test. You came up with all these different uses. Just really quickly about me, don't want to dwell on it. I came out of marketing, actually. I ran marketing teams in high tech. I have an MBA, I also have an MA in communication, and I've been doing improv and stand-up comedy and sketch comedy on stages for about 20 years. I've done 2 one-woman shows in San Francisco at Stageworks. So I'd like to think that a lot of my style is influenced by my background on a stage. And that's, so I'm a hybrid, I'm a weird hybrid. But all of you are hybrids of the best parts of your lives, and I want you to not compartmentalize. We're going to bring all those things together and have one beautiful mashup tonight. And that's what I want this to be. Now about you, how many of you, let's find out a little bit about who you are. How many of you work for a small startup? Okay, a couple of you. How many of you work for a bigger company? Okay. And some of you are like, not sure. Might be funded, we don't know. Okay, all right. How many of you are in tech? A couple of you aren't raising your hands. Not necessarily. Somewhat, probably the majority, vast majority, but I also know that there's Gap and Levi's and some consumer brands that are in the city. How many of you work for a larger consumer non-tech brand? Okay, a couple of you. A couple of you. Okay, wonderful. Fantastic, we have a mix. Is anybody here in marketing? Okay. And how many of you are in tech or like product development or some other aspect? Okay. And the rest of you are just here because it sounded interesting. That's good too. That's all right. We'll take that. We'll take that. That is a great reason to come. And free wine and free food, so that's a good reason to come. Well, welcome everybody. I think what you'll find is there's something for everybody, and regardless of what you're doing, we are going to do a bunch of exercises tonight. The main thing I want you to remember is that there is no failure. There's no right answer. We're taught in school it's binary, right or wrong. Get rid of that. Throw that out the door, because tonight there is no failure. You can't get something wrong. You're playing, right? Creativity is not wrong. There's no one way to do that. So get that out of your mind. Don't worry about being wrong. It can't happen tonight, right? The only thing that can be wrong about tonight is you not having fun. Okay? So just get that out of your mind. We're just going to play. We're going to be creative. Creativity does like a certain amount of constraints. Financial resources, time. So some constraints are very conducive to creativity. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to do some time-based stuff. And I'm going to try to get you back. You're going to have a good time. And I'll be clapping and try to get you back after an activity. It'll be hard, but it'll be good because it means you're having fun. All right. So there's no failure today. A really important concept before we start is this thing called yes and. Those of you who've taken improv, you know exactly what yes and is, right? This is a really important point. It is the crux, the absolute crux of improv. It's how we create scenes on a stage. But it is the cornerstone of creativity. Because how many times are we in brainstorming meetings and we give an idea and somebody says, yes, but. Yes, but. And a yes, but is a no, right? Masquerading in cheap perfume and costume jewelry. It ain't fooling anybody. We know it's a no. It's a no. Yes, and you say but, the but negates everything that came before. And here's the problem with that. When we start yes-butting each other during a brainstorm, people stop giving ideas. They're like, I am not going to add any more value because that person is just yes-butting everything I say. And we yes-but all the time when we don't even realize we're doing it. You probably have had it done to you, right? How many here have had somebody yes-but your idea? It sucks, right? How many of you admit you've done it to other people? I should see the same hands go up. You know why? Because we're human beings. We're all fallible, and it's okay. It's the great thing about us. So now we raise our level of awareness tonight, and I want you to stick to this concept of yes and. And here's what yes and means. Yes and means I hear you, tell me more. It means we build on each other's ideas. It doesn't mean that you're marrying the idea. You're not bankrolling it, right? You're not marrying the idea. You're just showing it a good time and taking it out for a few drinks. You may or may not call it in the morning. That's okay. But don't think that a yes means you are saying you will do it. All it means is for the purposes of brainstorming, I want to encourage you to keep giving me wonderful ideas. That's really powerful. So just for tonight, I want you to sort of be aware about not yes-butting somebody. Really powerful. Okay? I'm going to give you a quick demonstration. Can I have a partner? Can I have a volunteer? What's your name, sir?
Alex.
Alex, come on up. Thank you. Lovely Alex, my beautiful, lovely assistant, Alex. Where are you from, Alex?
Currently here, Paris, Moscow.
Paris. Oh, so beautiful. I'm going to totally butcher the French accent, so I'm sorry. Oh, oui. Well, let's go ahead. I want to demonstrate something really quickly. Alex, we're going to plan a party. We're going to plan a really quick party, but I want you to yes but everything I say, and I'm going to yes but everything you say. Just yes but me. Till the cows come home. We're going to get our yayas out now, right? All right. Oh my God, for the next party, Alex, you know what I want to do? I want to have a wine tasting party.
Well, yes, but that will be underage.
Yes, but we can card people. We can have a super fast pass for the adults.
Well, yes, but we have no printer.
Oh, yes, but we can have neon signs everywhere that point to the fast pass, which I'm going to be in.
Yes, but we're squatted, we have no electricity.
Right? That's like after a while you're like, this isn't fun anymore, right? Now I want you to yes and me. I want you to yes and me.
Okay.
And again, yes and folks does not mean you're going to go build the idea. All it means is I hear you. It's the spirit of yes and for tonight that I care about. All right, now you're going to yes and everything, and I'm going to yes and everything. Oh my gosh, for the next party, you know what I want to have? I want to have a dancing group of monkeys.
Oh, awesome. And we can also have wine tasting.
Oh, and I want to have monkey wine tasting where they're wearing costumes and dancing.
Precisely, and humans dressed as monkeys.
I love that. And then we can also have like a lion cage where we can go in and pet the lions.
Oh, amazing. I have some of them torn apart.
Exactly. Oh my God. But right, you'll have a fast pass for the lion training. Do you see that? You feel that little difference? So when you yes and, it opens up possibility. Now, a lot of the ideas that Alex and I just came up with, you would never go do. But how many ideas will be viable just because you allowed somebody to express their creativity and you went, ooh, there's a germ of an idea and you built on it. So some of those ideas will be viable. Not everything's going to be viable. But no matter what brainstorming tool you use, things aren't going to be 100% viable. The main thing is I don't want to shut down Alex's brilliance. I want to encourage him. So I'm going to yes and him. Again, remember, I don't care what word you use. You can say, tell me more about that idea. Just add on to it. That's the thing for tonight. You don't have to literally use the words yes and, but I want you to embody the spirit of it. Make sense?
Yes.
Right on. Thank you, Alex.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Having said that, your first task, this is what I want you to do. I want you to find a partner, pair up with somebody, and if I'm not going to judge. If you want to do it in a trio or a triad, that's fine too. Don't spend a lot of time. We don't judge. We don't judge. It's all right. It's all good. We're more fun for everybody. But here's what I want you to do, okay? I want you to think about,
Sure.
Take a service, now you all work at different companies, so don't worry about it for tonight. When you go back to your company with your team, I want you to, as a team, say, how else could we use our service? But for purposes of tonight, if you partner with somebody who works at a different company, pick a company really quickly. Don't spend a lot of time. Maybe it's Pinterest, maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's Facebook, whatever. Maybe it's an app that you use all the time. I don't care, just pick something very quickly. And then what I want you to do is ask yourself, what else could it be used for? And this gets back to the exercise we did earlier. Because in improv, not everything is what it seems. We're open to possibility. So a couple quick examples. What if Fitbit added a posture or a meds notification bulletin? Somebody here said posture thing. I need one of those. Like, what if I got zapped every time like my posture wasn't straight? I'd be zapped all day long, I'm telling you. But that would be a cool thing to add. Or what if ride sharing added some kind of mobile poetry slam, like a dating service where you rode around the city, right? And you met people, and then when the time was up, somebody else got in the car. Why can't you use ride sharing for dating? There's no law that says you can't. There's no law that says you can't, right? And there's no wrong answer here. So this is what I want you to do in pairs. Pick a service really quickly. Doesn't matter what it is. And I want you to brainstorm for a couple of minutes about what else you could use that service for. Okay? All right. There's no wrong answer. So find a partner and get in a triad really quickly and have fun. You should be winding down now. I've heard, I was walking around and I heard some really great conversations. This is wonderful. And like, you guys are already friends. Please, here's the thing. When you leave here today, please make sure that you get everybody's information and you connect on LinkedIn. This is a fun way to connect, right? Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody. So let's hear some ideas. I'd love to know what groups came up with. Anybody want to volunteer? Yeah, Alex. Yeah. Hey, everybody. What was your name, sir?
My name is Edson. I used to work for Samsung. Right now, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm in the augmented reality, virtual reality,
Yes.
and mixed reality industry. So right now, we were talking about what else can we do in augmented reality. Augmented reality is like, okay, we're in this reality. We want to superimpose something immersive. It is an addition to
Yes.
our reality. So we decided, what about our group last night? We can, because he's in academia, he does a lot of research, like, whatever, brain or something. We can relieve our dreams in reality.
That's cool. That's very cool.
So
Wow.
let's say it's like the
That's
science.
Freudian. Oh my goodness, Freud. I'm thinking like, oh my goodness. Yes.
So what I'm saying is like, okay, augmented reality, what about I dreamt last night, I wanted to be in front of me. So that's augmented reality.
That's really cool.
Yes.
That's awesome. I love it. Thank you. That's, yes. I live in distorted reality. So, but I appreciate, I think it's fantastic. That's a brilliant idea. And I think that's a really good example of what could be and not limiting yourselves, but yes, Andy. Yeah, love it. Thank you. Thank you, you guys. What else? I love that. I want to see some of my dreams because I'm like, wait a minute. What happened? Replay. Yes.
David and I thought of, started with a weather app, and then we thought that weather app could plug into like a clothing, what did we say? We had so many ideas, I'm now confused.
Well, like, it connects to your closet and your wardrobe, and it can see, like, you don't have an umbrella anymore. So you need to go on, because the next 30 days there's going to be on a rain.
That's so
like
cool.
Internet of Things land or
That would be so cool to keep me fashion like forward and be like, oh my God, that's so like, summer 2000, whatever. Yeah, that was so cool. I love that. That's actually very clever. Oh my gosh. It's like I'm just waiting for my talking scale in my fridge to lock me out. No, I don't think so. We know what you did last night because we saw that dream thing, that AR thing. That's awesome. Anybody else? Yeah.
Listen, we actually took a break sharing with this right there.
Yes.
And so we can talk about a bunch of things. Some of the things that came up was doctors, therapy, music therapy, babysitting, put the kids to bed, take the dogs to the dog park.
Nice. Nice. Lots of ideas. Yeah, just because you yes-anded each other. What else? You folks just raised your hand. How about, yes. Yes.
It was a backpack. As you could also play games on there. So we're talking about if you're single, you could also advertise as you're single on the backpack. Walking around, also for education, right? Purposes.
We're looking for a job or something? How
For a job. Keyboard and Word, Microsoft Word, Excel, and so on.
That's clever.
What is it?
There you go.
Like a visual display of photos.
That's it.
Music.
Right, a movement that you're really into.
Yeah, that's very cool, right? Thank you. That's really great. We'll take a couple more, just a couple more for time. But anybody else want to share? You don't have to. It's okay. I won't make you. Yes.
We talked about Snapchat, actually.
Okay.
Some of the ideas that we came up with was, one, let's say that you're at an event or other place having that integrate with other like chat applications.
Yeah.
So like, somebody says, where are you? And being able to show them exactly where you are instead of like going to multiple places and having something more visual.
Yeah.
And then the other thing we talked about is actually using it in an educational setting. So professors could, because with Snapchat is only up for 24 hours.
did it or not.
Who did it or not, and who's more prepared by, by
Yeah. That's a really good idea. And here's the really, was it fun for you guys to discuss? How much more fun is yes anding? Yeah. Do you think you can do more of that in your personal life and in your brainstorming? Pretty cool, right? Yeah. So you'll come up with some really cool ideas when you get in flow, when you feed off each other. Those are brilliant ideas. Thank you. That is awesome. We like to hear that. Now the next thing I want to talk about is mashups. So this is a very unfortunately large and pixelated picture, but so kids are great. Kids just take different universes, and I still can't keep my DC and my Marvel universe straight. Anybody here like into comics and stuff? I can't keep these straight. I've tried. I got my Captain America dating Batgirl, right? But their love can't last because they're from two different sides of the universe, right? I can't keep it straight. But it doesn't matter. Here's the beauty about mashups, is that when we take ideas that look just similar on the surface and we think they should never go together, sometimes they make some pretty darn cool stuff. Have you ever heard like a country track mixed with an R&B or a hip hop track? I have. And some of it is pretty darn cool because you're like, I didn't think that could go together. It actually challenges our own assumptions about what things go together. So lesson number 2, after yes and, I want us to challenge what can go together. So we're gonna work on some mashups today. You can stay with your partner. Again, we don't judge. I'm not gonna institute any divorces for your brainstorming partnership. But I want you to do this. Here's what I want you to do. And if you need paper and a pen, I've got some up here. Here's what I'd like you to do. I want you to, first of all, come up really quickly, and I'll tell you the next step, but the first step is, with your partner, each of you come up with your biggest passion. So for me, my biggest passion is improv and comedy. I live it every day. That's my biggest passion. Maybe for some of you it might be pets or travel, or maybe it is movies or something like that. Each of you in the team come up with your biggest passion, okay? Then what I want you to do is figure out what app you want to do. You can continue, like for example, this trio here chose Facebook. You can stay with Facebook as your app if you want to. So I want you really quickly in the group that you were in, just spend a quick minute coming up with, ask each other about your main passions, okay? Just do that, take a minute, and then I'll explain step 2, okay?
What's your instinct of yours?
So just take a minute to come up with your passions. I'll explain the next step. Okay, if you've got your passions locked in, raise your hand. How many groups? Okay. If you got your passions identified, raise your hand. Okay, cool. Step 2. Here's what we're going to do for step 2. Here's what I want you to do. Is I want you taking, if you want to still stay with Facebook or Snapchat or whatever you used before, that's fine. If you want to change it, don't waste a lot of time figuring out what you're going to use as your tech. And here's what I want you to do. Improv is about looking for idea collisions, right? Things that don't go together can be together in the same scene. It makes the scene better, right? What the heck, right? What if Abraham Lincoln were using Snapchat today? It could happen. Why not? That's creative and fun. So here's what I want you to do. Look for all these ways that these different ideas could come together. So for example, can I get a team that will give me a couple of their passions and be a volunteer here? Okay, what are your passions?
Reading nonfiction.
Reading nonfiction, and what is your passion? Reading and sports, tennis. And what technology did you use before? Okay. What did you use as in the last exercise for your technology? Instagram. You don't have to stay with it, but let's suppose we did. How many collisions could we have if we used Instagram for sports and for reading? What collisions could we have? What if Instagram could actually, based on our images of sports, recommend sports books for us? What if it actually became a source of recommending other sites that might have tennis things that we'd like to watch? Right? How cool would it be if it started recommending stuff you might also like and it became a recommendation engine? Or maybe with Instagram stories, it said, well, you have a really great story about tennis. This tennis pro has a great story of tennis. We're going to actually put your story of tennis in this combined tennis stories site next to Serena Williams announcing her pregnancy. Right? There's no limit here. Here's the thing I want you to do. Look for these collisions. How could we come up with new product or service ideas or content ideas for marketing our services? Don't limit yourself. There's no wrong answer. Yes, and what if? Just be about possibility. Right? I had one group, last time I did this, they took gas stations. Don't ask me why. And they actually did some kind of a food app where it actually told you from every gas station what the local flavor of food was. So if you were at a gas station in Kansas on a road trip, it told you where to stop for the best local food. How cool would that be, right? On a road trip. So don't limit yourself. This is what I want you to do really quickly. Take a couple of minutes in your group. See if you can combine these different passions and come up with different features or content tie-ins with your product. Okay? Just take a couple of minutes. There's no wrong. Take one more minute, just one more minute to wrap up. I can't wait to hear. Who wants to share? Yeah.
You're talking about she like podcasts on sweet potatoes. And then we like everything else. But we were talking about a podcast that's timed making a dinner. And so it tells you chop the onions and then it like gives you a little story and then you like put the food in and it gives you a little story. So it mixes up a recipe in a podcast.
That's kind of cool. I like that. Mixes up a recipe in a podcast. Very cool, very creative. I like that. What else?
So in the weather app, we decided that it will automatically play music either based on the weather around you, the magically move, or it will be the opposite. So if it's raining, you can either go with metal music or something.
That's very cool. You can do Here Comes the Sun while it's raining. Yeah. I like that. That's actually really creative. Super creative. What else?
So our passion is like finding communities that mind walking. So we have like an app that we can type like food on the go. So like we're different people that together and we just have food that walk together. Like hot dogs, something that you can walk with it.
Like a pub crawl. I like that. That's very cool. I like that. So you're getting your food on, but you're getting your Fitbit walking in too. I like that. That's very cool. Let's take a couple. Anybody else have an example? We'll take a couple more examples. Yeah.
Can we go combine Google with sales?
Okay.
So with sales, like it's using, you already have a route, like
Yeah.
like what target customers you have, or where the market is, and you have the best people that that one, next one.
That's very cool. So you combine music and Uber.
Yeah, music, like you already have your playlist configured.
That's very cool. And maybe that's portable with you. That is very cool. I like that. Here's the thing about this that I hope you take away is that, well, why do we start with passions? Because part of coming up with new ideas is you as a company can't give up what you care about. If you're Uber, or you're probably a bad example nowadays, if you're Lyft, if you're anybody other than Uber, Flywheel, or if you're, whatever you are, maybe you're Pandora, maybe, Spotify, whatever you are, you have your own organizational values and passions, right? If you're Patagonia, you care about the environment. Taking the other passion is, what does my audience care about? I actually did this for a ride-sharing service, and a ride-sharing service determined, not a surprise, that a high % of their best users, their ideal customers, had multiple pets. They were pet fans. So they started thinking of what other marketing ways could we combine animals, or marketing campaigns could we use animals because our audience loves animals. So start with what you care about as a company. How can you combine them with, maybe you have big data or you have survey data, so you actually have data backing up what your audience cares about, or your best hunch, right? Then think about how can we make this relevant in their world. And if they're using an app like Facebook every day, or a weather app, or a ride-sharing service, or whatever they're using, or podcasts, how can we make it relevant to them? And there's no limit. What I want you to do when you get back to your work, back to the ranch, back to your company, is think about how can we combine our passion as a company, who we are, our value, with what our audience cares about, and our technology, or how we deploy, or maybe somebody else's technology. If you are, a third-party app with, that works with whatever. How can you combine these things? There's no limit. There's no wrong. Make sense? Improv is about taking things that you think don't go together and challenging those assumptions. So I hope you'll take that away. All right. The next thing, contrast. If Mona Lisa were here today, she'd probably have her headphones on. She'd be rocking out to her, she's got her tunes going. We all know it would happen. We all know. So what if contrast, improv, and humor are so much about contrast? So much about contrast. Have you ever heard the term clash of context? It's a well-known formula for comedies. Kindergarten Cop. There's no way Arnold Schwarzenegger, as a cop, should be teaching 5-year-old children. That should be illegal in every world, right? Shut up, sit down. The man should not be near 5-year-old children. But the beauty about comedy is, what if we took two things, again, that don't belong together, and somehow they had to figure out a way to get along? That's where the improv comes in. That's where the humor comes in. That's where the good ideas come from taking these different worlds and slapping them together. So when we have incongruities, we have ideas. So what if we took things that don't go together? Remember that commercial that had Betty White, the Snickers commercial? She played the football player when the football player was hungry. You know, in the Humane Society of Silicon Valley had Eddie the Terrible. They couldn't get this one little shit dog adopted because he just was a little shit dog. It wasn't his fault. He didn't have a lot of humans that loved him. And they would say, really honestly, look, this dog, if you like dogs that love kids, keep walking. This dog is not for you. They decided to do these funny campaigns where they put him as in Breaking Bad, as Walt Whitman, then Walter White, excuse me, getting my poets mixed up with Walter White, and then they put him in like, these, American Horror Story kind of scenarios. But they put this cute little dog, because he wasn't very nice, in all these different funny scenarios. They got the dog adopted. Now he's actually a service dog. Okay, how cool is that? They got millions of views because they thought differently. How can we combine worlds that seemingly don't get together? So here's what I want you to do. Yes, I want you to get together with your partner. And I want you to ask yourself, maybe take a different product if you want. Now, you don't have to use the same product you were before. So for purposes of today, back at your company, you're going to take your company product. I don't mind you using this, guys, as long as you repurpose with my attribution on it. That's cool. But go ahead and whatever company you want to do, right? Back at work, you're going to do your company. Here, just take a company. How could you put it in a different time period? Like if you took your product and service and put it in a different time period, what funny things would happen? I started thinking about ride sharing because I dealt with ride sharing. How funny would it be if you did a whole campaign about the evolution over the centuries of ride sharing? You know what a horse-drawn carriage was. That was ride sharing. Right? Right? The Flintstones, when you had the dinosaur pulling everybody, that was ride sharing. What if you did an evolution through the ages of ride sharing? The guy on the horseback in the 1700s, the town crier, your horse is here, ride sharing. Why not? So take your company's product, put it in a different context, either in the future or in the past. What would people do with it? What other marketing ideas get sparked because you mixed up the context for your product? Some of the funniest scenes I've ever done in improv come because context is completely changed. I did a scene about Jesus, and Jesus had a twin brother named Jeff. And Jeff wasn't very successful, couldn't live up to Jesus's, miracles. So have some fun with it, right? What could you do with that? So again, you can take Pinterest or Facebook or whatever you used before, or come up with something new. Take a new service, don't spend a lot of time on it. But I want you to ask yourself, what ideas could we spark by simply putting that into the past or in the future or some other context, okay? Have some fun with that. Take a couple of minutes and see what ideas kind of come for you. Want to join the group? Can you hear? You're way over there. Okay. Hello! What do you think?
it's like something.
Just take one more minute. Okay, everybody. All right. I wish we had so much more time. So let's talk about what you guys came up with. What ideas percolated for you? What? I want to hear. And again, there's no wrong answer. You either put it in the past or the future, or like what would aliens do with your product? What would cavemen? It's sort of, remember, the whole like insurance. The Geico insurance did for a while. They had the thing about the cavemen. That's basically what they did. Is they put it in the past and changed the context. When you change the context for your product, all of a sudden you change the conversation around it, and people are looking at your product in a very different way. So, who wants to share? Anybody want to share? Yeah.
Airbnb in Victorian times becomes a kind of human slavery machine.
And if you make it funny, I think it could work. If you find a way to find the humor in it, because the clash of context, the fish out of water is any comedy where you see the person doesn't belong in their surroundings. Yeah, if you find a way to find the humor in it, it actually could work. Yeah. But you gotta find the funny part of that. Yeah. Yes. If Leonardo had Instagram. Yes. What filter would Mona Lisa have? That's so fun. I love that because he would have used it. He would have been playing all kinds. He was a technologist. He was ahead of his time. Yeah, I like that. I like the Airbnb thing. That's actually very creative. All right, what else? What else you got? Anybody else? Yeah. Did you guys?
So we kind of took Facebook and the social gathering where you kind of get updates about everybody in your immediate surroundings. And putting it in medieval times, it kind of came to one of the things we thought was a hanging. Like somebody's getting extra. That's what people gather. Everybody gathers.
It's like the negative area.
Everybody comes out far away and exchanges news and has a positive.
Or like the Azores game.
Or a gladiator game.
Well, and here's the thing. You actually, I think that's actually interesting because here's the thing. There are some things you absolutely can't touch from a humor perspective because it's not funny, but some things you can actually do if you do it in the right way. If you do it in the right way. So you're not promoting or celebrating evil or any of that horrible stuff. What you're saying is people used to make these things a public thing. Like, when people were pilloried in the town square, people would then go have pie afterwards, right? It was kind of an odd time. And you see the person with remember the wooden thing that their hands would be in? That was sort of the public shaming. Then they get their news that way. So could you find the positive spin on that? And could you find the fun in maybe making fun of sort of, Frankenstein? The lynch mob goes to get Frankenstein, and then as they're walking towards Frankenstein's thing, they're exchanging news, and they're like, oh wait, you know what? Frankenstein's not there anymore. According to this GPS, he's in this different location. And then it becomes a comedy about GPS technology. That's funny, because you're not celebrating the macabre, you're celebrating the whole part of that's what a mob is. It's like everybody's confused. That could actually, so challenge our assumptions about what could actually work. We just have to work to thread out the funny a little bit. Yeah. Absolutely. If we do it in the right way, we can actually make certain things work, and that's where you hire somebody.
It would be the Pepsi commercial.
You don't want to be in a Pepsi commercial. But there's a difference between a fake character like Frankenstein, who's a fake character, and making fun of and you're laughing at the silliness of a mob, because Frankenstein was not a real thing versus a real person, and doing that. So, but yeah, yes, yeah. You definitely want to. There's a reason why people hire comedians who have the background and understand how context and what's funny and how far you can go. Yeah, absolutely. But having said that, that doesn't mean you shouldn't challenge assumptions about what you can and cannot do. You actually can do certain things. So some things you won't touch, but the line of thinking about why mashups and fish out of water works is because it gets our brain making associations we didn't see before. Right? What if, your caveman found your product? Or what if, colonial times, what if Paul Revere had your GPS, the British are coming? Oh, and now we know where. What if Washington had that advantage? That could be funny. Yeah.
Just like the Broadway show, Hamilton.
Yeah.
I mean, if you pitched that,
Yeah.
it would never work.
Right.
But they did it, and it works
And it
now,
works.
but not for everybody.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, rap, and then also too, I don't know.
Right.
Anybody's had the opportunity to go see the play, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And you have George Washington played by a black guy.
Yeah.
Which you would never think in a traditional place, but they made it work.
They made it work, and
They made it work.
and Shakespeare challenged some of that with Othello. Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason you can't do. Yeah. Oh yeah, Othello. So there's always a way to challenge assumptions. So bear that in mind. I'm gonna go a little fast so we finish and not too much longer. But I want to introduce concepts. This is a concept called a role reversal, and I don't know if you're familiar. If any of you, probably not. Maybe listen to country music. I don't, but there's a very funny country song. It's called Girl in a Country Song. And what that whole song explores is, what if there were gender role switches? This has been used in Shakespearean time. Men used to play women's roles on stage. So this is a very old trope. But what if there were these gender roles? The thing is that comedy can come from, and unusual ideas can come from these assumptions that we kind of flip upside down. So what does it mean for us today? Well, I did a video, this is not my son, but this video features my son. I did a video that said, well, what if, we all hate business jargon, what if little kids used business jargon? And I created this video where little kids, and we fed them, my husband was there, we fed them each one line at a time, and it was like seriously herding cats. But what was funny is, when it was all said and done, it was hilarious. Because little kids would never talk like that. Little kids don't do that. But then, what's funny about that is I was telling LinkedIn this idea, and they said they loved it so much that they took my idea and said, we're gonna do that. And what they did is they created a series of videos that were so funny. They had LinkedIn employees, and they had their children. And the children of the LinkedIn employees read their parents' LinkedIn profiles. And it was hysterical. It got like 2 million views, some of these videos. And it worked. And here's why. It was so funny, because it's a role reversal. The kids were reading, and this was hysterical. He's reading his dad. His dad's a LinkedIn engineer. And he's reading his dad's profile. And he's like, Dad, I don't understand any of that. What do you mean systems integration? What do you mean optimizing and leveraging? Dad, I don't get this. This makes no sense. And it was hysterical. And he's like, and he's making this face. He's like, it's hysterical. That's where the fun comes in, is just by taking that assumption and turning it upside down and doing reversals. We're not going to have time to do this today, so I just have time, but I do want to introduce this idea to you. Number 4, we talked about yes and, we talked about mashups, we talked about fish out of water. Role reversals. Can you have your customers create content for you? Can you have children explain your idea? Those of you, I'm telling you, I've done this for clients. Those of you who work in technology and you're thinking, how do I explain it in the easiest way possible? Easy. Go talk to an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old. Or, well, 2-year-olds barely going to be able to understand it, but an 8 or 9-year-old has enough facility with language to be able to go, that doesn't make sense. And they're great bullshit filters, because they will call you out on it. So if you want to do something fun, do a role reversal with kids. This last thing I want to leave you with is, it's called, the 5th concept in improv is reverse and turn things upside down. Improv and comedy is so good at just challenging everything that you think is true that you know. So there was a program in Australia that created the human walking program. And so they had these dogs, and they were trying to get these dogs adopted. And here's what was so funny. They couldn't get the dogs adopted. Then they said, well, you know what, this is stupid. You know what, you know who really needs help? It's the people. The people are unstable. The dogs are fine. So they made their clients the dogs, and they said, well, you can, you know, our dog will take you for a walk, and if our dogs like you, our dogs are the clients, maybe you can adopt them. So the dogs would take the humans for a walk. So they inverted the model. Who says that it has to be the dogs that get adopted? It's the humans that get adopted. So successful, one of the most successful examples of anything they'd ever tried. So what would happen if you turned your assumptions upside down? And we don't have a lot of time today, but I want to leave you with this. Any assumption you make in your business, I encourage you, some assumptions are going to be true, but some assumptions won't be. I gave an example earlier today about a restaurant that challenged the assumption in Chicago. They challenged the assumption that every restaurant needs a menu. Okay, well, where is it written that every restaurant needs a menu? And what they did is they eliminated menus, and every day they would source locally fresh food from the farmer's market. And then what would happen is the servers would go around table to table and say, here's our fresh ingredient list for today. What would you like us to make for you? And they eliminated menus, and it was actually pretty successful. So why are we so tied to certain ideas? Sometimes they're real, but a lot of times we keep these assumptions, and there's really no reason that we have to do it that way. So what I want you to do, and we're not going to have a lot of time now, but what I want to encourage you to do back in your business is I want you to write down 3 assumptions about how you can make, you know, either your product or service really bad, or 3 assumptions about that you assume to be true. Like my clients will never like X, and we have to create all our own content. And then I want you to go down that list and flip every assumption. Maybe your assumption is we have to create all our own content. All right, flip it. What if you said, if we're GoPro, did you know that like almost 100% of GoPro's content is created by their customers? They don't create any of their own content. It's genius. So this assumption that you have to create all your own stuff, no. Right? Or maybe we have to create our own menus. Flip that assumption, let's get rid of it. Or how could we make our content worse? Or, you know, our service worse? Maybe we can make our service worse by making our interface really, really bad. I'm looking at you, LinkedIn. Right? Our new UI, really bad. Right? Now, flip that assumption. Okay, how could we make the UI better? How could we clarify that? So just go through and write every assumption and challenge yourself to flip that model. Flip it on its head. And what I think you'll find is that when you start to challenge your own assumptions about things, you'll come up with ideas you never thought were possible before. Okay? Remember the human walking program, because it worked. So here's what I want to leave you with today. I love playfulness, and I wish we had so much more time. So here's the thing I want you to play. Play like a 7-year-old. The reason improv works is because it unleashes playfulness. Playfulness is creative fuel. It's creative fuel for all these ideas. And companies are so afraid of it, right? It's where, B2B is where humor goes to die. It doesn't have to. How do I know? I have an MBA. I also have 20 years of stage and improv experience. I am a mashup. This is me. I am this walking back. It's doable. It's doable. So you can yes and ideas. I really want you to remember to build on ideas. Yes and. You don't have to say the words. You can say tell me more. But you're collaborating, you're building on, you're adding on. Spirit of improv is about adding on, not saying no. Doesn't mean you're going to build the stuff. Think upside down, right? I want you to reverse assumptions. I want you to relate dissimilar objects. How can we do a mashup of things that shouldn't go together, but maybe they do? Peanut butter and chocolate. Maybe they do. Context. Take a fish out of water. How can we put it in a different time period? How can we mix that up, right? Reversing, mashups, all these different kind of sub-things. And by all means, like I say, feel free to take pictures of that. As long as the attribution's there, I'm fine with that. But go ahead and take pictures if you like. And I'm going to leave you with that because I know there's just so much coming at you. I hope you had fun. Here's the thing. I want you to just play. Have fun. You're creative animals. You're great storytellers. Don't let anybody tell you different. I know sometimes we get into corporate America and it squeezes all that stuff out of us. Get that stuff back because it's good stuff. Here's how to keep in touch with me. I'm just at Kathy Klotz-Guest, and Keeping It Human is my company. That's me back when I was doing comedy sports for 9-10 years. I have some books if you guys want to buy it, and I will leave it at that. I just want you to really remember that the name of my book is Stop Boring Me. None of you are boring, so your products and services and your content shouldn't be either. Thank you for your time today.
All right, let's give it up one more time for Kathy. Thank you so much. I hope you guys had fun tonight, and that you got to apply some of the things that she taught you. Bring that back to your boring offices. She knows what I'm talking about. And yes, she could be selling books after. Thanks for coming out to the center.
Thank you.
If you have any questions about what we do or want to check us out, we have a center weekly that goes out every Thursday at 5. So if you're signed up, you got it about 2 hours ago. But yeah, stoked to see you guys again. And yeah, thanks for coming out.
Thank you, Nasdaq.
One more time.
Thank you, Nasdaq.